Hey, Raj, you look younger with the beard.
Thanks, Captain.
Yeah. You shaved the beard.
Some detective.
Got two more things.
Shoot.
First, condition of the sheets in the mattress indicate that someone else was in the bed with Amanda just before she died. That's A.
What's B?
B is I'm supposed to tell you you're breaking in a new partner in on this.
Partner again?
Yeah, some cat he's on loan from dope. Real burnout, on the ragged edge.
Oh, perfect. Gun!
Raj, meet your new partner.
I'm too old for this shit.
Welcome to another episode of the Fifth Wall Podcast, episode 15. I'm Brandon Carmichael. With me is Clay Kellett. Clay, how are you and what are you doing?
I'm jacking my weenus.
No, it's at the table.
Not the table?
Not the table, Clay.
Sorry.
Par for the course.
Jared, how are you?
All right, let's start over. Ask me again.
All right. Clay, how are you?
Worth it.
And with us as well as Jared Bose. Jared, how are you?
I'm doing a lot better than Clay.
And thank you for not taking your weenus out at the table. I really appreciate that.
Nobody wants to see that.
Right.
Not at the table, Carlos.
Not at the table, Carlos.
I wonder how many times they had to say that to Steve Gutenberg.
I don't get it.
Well, because 3 Men and Baby came out the same year.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk more about movies that came out
I wonder
the
what
same
year we're talking about.
Well, we are talking about the 1987 action film Lethal Weapon.
That's right.
Who picked this movie?
You did, sir.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I picked Loaded Weapon.
I knew it. I fucking knew it. That's exactly
he
the
called
one.
it a couple days ago, actually.
Yeah, I got it.
And it's the best one that you could come up
Yeah.
with.
I love the fact that's become our couch gag. You know, I think that's pretty awesome. And it's become a weekly ritual to where I'm like, okay, what movie is he going to say that we're allegedly doing?
Well, the pressure's on now.
I know.
Got to keep him guessing.
I know.
I knew this one was going to be kind of obvious.
I can see now. He's like, we're not doing Spy Hard. No, we're not doing Spy Hard. We're talking about Die Hard. But that's a little bit later. But yeah, this week we're talking about Lethal Weapon.
Thanks a lot. You killed it. Now I'm going to have to come up with something different.
Oh, can't make it easy.
Nerve-wracking sons of
I'm
bitches.
sure you'll come up with something.
Yeah.
Always do.
So, this is kind of the first of our Christmas movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In case you didn't know, Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie.
I completely agree. As is what other film?
Die
Hard.
Let's talk about our favorite Christmas movies and let's call them out.
Okay, number one.
Lethal Weapon.
Weapon.
Die Hard.
I think Die Hard's better than Lethal Weapon.
And nobody asked you. Gremlins.
Gremlins for sure.
It's a good movie, but it's a long time since I've seen it. So as far as Christmas movies go, I'm going to jump straight to Christmas Vacation.
And let's not forget Trading Places.
Absolutely.
Right on. That's a good call. But yeah, I completely agree that this is a Christmas
Unfortunately,
film.
you're only going to hear two of these movies on the list before Christmas.
Right.
But that's
Sorry.
okay.
Right.
There's always next year.
Right. That's true. As we do at the top of every episode, Jared, you got a couple things you want to talk about this movie?
Good old Box Office Mojo puts this movie at $15 million budget.
Nice.
Domestically, it made $65 million. That's 1987 money. And as we know, Reagan was in office. Senior Bush was getting in there just after that. So the money wasn't doing too good.
Something DOO economics. Voodoo economics.
That's
Thank
Dick
you, Ben.
Ritchie all over again.
I won Ben Stein's money on that Flash game back in high school, by
Nice.
the way.
Nice.
I don't know how many of you guys played it, but I won his money. So $65 million in 1987 money is $103 million today. Worldwide, this did $120 million back in the day, so that's close to $200 million today. It's almost a 2-hour movie,
Yep.
which for an action movie is 20 minutes over budget.
But it doesn't. It's one of those that does not feel like a 2-hour
Definitely.
movie.
Yeah,
It does not feel like 2
unlike
hours.
Bad Boys 2, which just seems to kind of go
Yes,
on
it
and
does.
on and on.
It's like they get in the car chase on the freeway.
Right.
That lasts about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Then they get on the speedboats going to Cuba. That lasts about 15 minutes. Then they get to Cuba, and the end of the movie takes about 15 minutes. And it's because Michael Bay uses slow motion shots of everything. The fucking grenade jumping out of the sand and the Porsche flipping over.
they're going to the bathroom. It's in slow mo
Yeah.
and it explodes.
I like
Anyways.
that movie.
I didn't say I didn't like it, but it's the fact that that movie is
You feel the 2 hours.
Yeah, you really do. Like we've talked about other films where it doesn't seem like it's 2.5 hours or 2 hours.
Shawshank, most
Shawshank,
recently.
Back to the Future, right? But yeah, that movie feels like 2.5 to 3 hours.
Definitely. So, anyways, this one, really good. Good movie. You guys should watch it if you haven't seen it.
Right.
And if you watch any of the sequels, stop at 3.
See, I disagree with you. I liked all 4 of them.
They fuck you with the cell phones.
Right.
Yeah.
First they drug you,
So that
then they
shit
fuck
gets
you.
a little old.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
so
that's
does
fine.
this shit's. I'm getting too old for this shit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but okay.
Considering that's the line he uses in all of his cameos.
Right. And you could make a drinking game after how many times he yells rigs in like just any kind of situation.
Although he's got a good way of saying rigs. He
You're
really
right.
does.
Indeed. All right. So the cast of this movie, if you don't already know,
Yeah, who are we talking about?
Mel Gibson is the lead playing Martin Riggs. Danny Glover plays Roger Murtaugh. Gary Busey plays Joshua or Mr. Joshua.
Thank you.
Mitchell Ryan, he plays General Peter McAllister. You've seen him in a bunch of different things. You know, he was in Liar Liar. He was in the second Hot Shots movie, Magnum Force, which was the third Dirty Harry film, if I remember correctly.
If you need a grizzled old man in an authoritarian position and you can't get R. Lee Ermey,
Right. But I appreciate the fact that Jared included this. He played Commander Riker's father in Star Trek The Next Generation. I love that. Thank you so much for that.
you're welcome.
It also stars...
You know what episode that was?
I know it was in the second season with Dr. Pulaski because you find out they were romantically involved, but I don't remember what the actual episode title was.
I don't know what I'm
The
more.
Icarus,
I don't know what I'm more
Factor.
shocked by.
Factor.
The Icarus Factor, that's
Yep.
right.
The fact that you didn't know which episode it was,
Oh, he knew which
or the
episode
fact
it
that you
was.
could call out the exact
The
season.
plot point. Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't like her as a doctor.
I didn't either. But we'll discuss that later for Trek Talk.
Okay.
Or the other podcast.
Yeah.
This film also includes Tom Atkins, who plays Michael Hunsaker. He's in a ton of really good films. A lot of
I
them
was
John
surprised how
Carpenter
many,
movies.
shocker horror movies he
Yeah.
was in.
He's in-
my
almost.
all-time favorite, Night of the Creeps.
This
he's in
is
The
the
Fog.
most tame movie he's done.
True. He was
Oh,
in,
yeah.
He was in The Fog and Creep Show, and then Night of the Creeps, like you said, Clay.
Yeah.
Halloween 3.
The original Fog, we should mention.
I'm sorry, the
Right.
original 1980s.
Yeah, he was
Fog.
the main baddie in Halloween 3.
Correct.
Well,
no.
not
He
the
was,
main
he was
baddie.
you said he was a doctor.
Yeah.
Right.
No, he was a good guy.
That's what I'm saying.
My bad. I'm thinking of the CEO of the company. That was
Yeah.
the wrong guy.
That was the guy from Last Starfighter.
Yes, thank you.
And
also the old
OCP in RoboCop, right?
That's right.
Speaking of RoboCop, have you seen the remake?
Anyway,
not.
so also
It's almost
no,
as bad as Star Wars.
I haven't.
Whoa!
Oh shit!
Okay.
No, I mean your reference. You
wish
bring it
we
up
had-
every time.
I really wish we had
I love
a
Star
record
Wars.
scratch sound drop for that, man.
It's just really been a rough day with this whole Star Wars business. But since you brought it up,
Love Star Wars.
Jesus.
I'll save it for later.
You know who else was in Star Wars? Steve Cahan. Not really at all.
No, because it wasn't a Richard Donner
Yeah.
flick.
Exactly, and thank you for bringing that up. The guy that plays Captain Ed Murphy, Steve Cahan or Cahan,
Cahan.
either way,
Looks like Mahan.
he has been in every single Richard Donner film, including this one, Maverick, Superman. But he's also been in Demolition Man. He was also in a show called Knots Landing,
Yep.
which I didn't know until the other day that it was a spinoff of Dallas.
It was.
You're welcome.
And I think I learned that from you. That's right.
I learned it from Clay as well.
Indeed. So this also features Darlene Love, who plays Mrs. Murtaugh Trish, and Tracy Wolf, who plays Rianne, the very pretty daughter of Roger Murtaugh.
And allegedly, Darlene Love is related to Whitney Houston.
You want to expand on that, Clay?
I would, but I
You
can't
heard it once.
find
That's
it.
It's true. I couldn't find it. All right.
I'm going to find it. I'm going to go to the tape.
Okay.
But I'm telling you, I heard that one time, and it makes sense because, if you look at,
They look really similar.
you can definitely
Wait.
see some
And they act about the
familiar-
same.
Yeah. But also, Darlene Love is not known for being an actress. She's a singer. And
Oh.
she's
Yeah.
actually
I didn't know
well-renowned singer.
She was a
Okay.
backup singer for Elvis, right?
She was.
I thought I remember reading that.
She's
Hunka
one of
Hunka Burnin'
Letterman's
Love.
favorites. And I want to say I just saw something about her possibly being in the Hall of Fame.
Right on. That'd be
I'm
cool.
looking.
Well, this movie came out in 1987,
Yep.
which was a pretty good year for a lot of movies. Let's look at some of the films that came out in that same year.
Yeah, the top 20 is. I mean, if you haven't seen these movies, you need to see them. They're almost all of these are great.
I agree.
The only one I haven't seen on this list, two. I haven't seen Outrageous Fortune.
Good movie.
George Carlin, yeah,
Really?
Shelley Long and Bette
That's
Midler.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't seen La Bamba. I've heard good things.
Not a good movie.
All right.
Nah, I'm just kidding. It's all right.
I don't know. It's Lou Diamond Phillips, right?
Richie Valens, yeah.
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 All right. So, Brandon, you do the first 10 because
Okay.
those are great.
So you had the highest money-making movie of 1987 was a movie called Three Men and a Baby,
Directed by
Leonard Nimoy, Spock himself.
Yeah. Hey, two Star Trek references in the first 5 minutes.
Love this episode. You had Fatal Attraction, Beverly Hills Cop 2, which is pretty solid. Good Morning Vietnam, Moonstruck, which was the only film. The only film that Cher has won an Academy Award for. I almost said Nicolas Cage,
That's
but we all know what that one is.
Who was the boyfriend husband in that?
Danny Aiello, I believe.
Danny Aiello.
Yeah. The Untouchables,
Yes.
The Secret of My Success, Stakeout, which is really good. This movie and Dirty Dancing.
This movie being Lethal Weapon.
Yes.
Not a movie called This Movie.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, so that brings us to The Witches of Eastwick, which scared the pants off me when I was a kid because I saw it when I was 6. The First Predator, Dragnet, La Bamba, we mentioned, RoboCop,
Right.
which we mentioned.
Yep.
Throw Mama from the Train, we didn't mention. Outrageous Fortune, Broadcast News, The Living Daylights, and Eddie Murphy's Raw, which technically made $50 million at the theaters.
Yeah.
I didn't realize they released it at the theaters until I did this.
Did they release Delirious in the theater?
Yes.
Huh.
I
that.
figured you would know.
But the only time I'd ever seen Raw was on video.
Or on HBO.
Well, I didn't have HBO.
I
till
gotcha.
And
I was an adult.
As we like to bring up short appearances by a certain actor who was in the skit before Raw.
Oh. No. You talk about the little boy that played young Eddie?
No. Short appearances by one of our favorite actors.
Dave Chappelle?
No. Dave Chappelle would have been like 6.
Christopher Walken?
No. Sam Jackson.
Chris Walken opens for Chris Walken.
Give me the raw.
Hey, give it a Raw.
Wait, that sounds.
He's doing an an avant-garde thing. He's just standing on the stage and he screams, "I've got a fever,
Yeah.
and the only prescription."
It's more raw.
It's more Raw.
No,
more-
he's Christopher Walken's up there just talking about Skittles. So after that,
Later, a lot of action movies on this. A lot of classics. I'll do the first 3, and you can do 3, and Clay, you can do 3. So these are not top 20. These are below the fold, so to speak. But I want to call out Full Metal Jacket. I want to call out The Princess Bride, and I want to call out Masters of the Universe.
nice.
All in top 40 most profitable movies in 1987.
3 of my favorites from this year. I'm going to say, let's see. We've got The Running Man. We've got Spaceballs. And one of my favorite John Carpenter films, The Prince of Darkness.
I saw it on TV not too long ago.
It's a good flick.
Very good movie. So I'm only getting 3 out of this?
3 out of the bottom 20.
But you've got a lot of good
Oh,
ones
out of
to
the
choose
bottom
from.
20.
Yeah,
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
absolutely.
Awesome.
Very good.
Awesome movie.
Very good.
Wow.
Look at number 42, please.
Teen Wolf 2?
It's 41.
Evil Dead 2. I didn't like that one as much as,
Okay.
these aren't that's not really a standout to me. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, Full Metal Jacket is one of my favorites.
Sure.
And for being a very unpopular part of the series, I actually like Superman 4.
Wow.
Okay.
So you'll go on record as saying that Evil Dead
Actually,
2...
I just did that for shock value.
Okay.
I swear to
I got
God.
exactly what I was looking for.
I swear to God, if we had a record scratch
Yep.
for this
So because none of you mentioned it, I'm going to go ahead and mention that Hellraiser came out that year, because if we don't, Cody's going to be all over our ass.
Yeah.
And nobody wants that.
No.
Wall Street.
Wall Street's
good. Roxanne, I'm a huge fan of.
Greed is good.
Empire of the Sun, The Lost Boys.
Right. And in an upcoming episode you'll hear in the near future for Raising Arizona.
Definitely.
So that's a good one.
Yep.
But yeah, like we mentioned this once before, Masters of the Universe, when you're 6 years old, it's amazing, does not hold up.
No, it does not
hold up. So poor Dolph Lundgren. But anyway, let's talk about let's get back to Lethal Weapon and talk about some script details and some writing.
Okay, here
tidbits.
we go. Found it.
What?
Oh,
They're not related. She was Whitney Houston's godmother.
Okay.
Well, that's
Close
kind
enough.
of a
Yeah,
relation.
you're practically family at that point.
Yeah, I mean, but
Yeah, she changed a diaper or two.
Well, I didn't know this. Darlene Love was born in '38.
Good God.
Yeah,
She
she's
doesn't
old.
look 50 when she's in that movie.
No,
Because
not at all.
there's even the line at the beginning when Danny Glover says he's 50 and he says, that makes
would
you.
make you, and
she's like, nope, we don't
Right.
talk about that. She would have been 49.
So wasn't he seriously, because the character is supposed to be, is he turning 50 in the movie? Is he turning 54?
He's turning 50.
He turned 50.
But
Yeah.
how old was he really?
He was actually 41. He was born in 46. So,
I gotcha. Okay.
So Darlene Love is older than what she is in the movie, and he's actually younger than what he is in the movie.
Right on.
By a good stretch, too. I mean, 9 years. If I didn't know any better at the time, I'd say he was dyeing his hair because he doesn't have any gray at all.
Yeah, and he would have been because
Yeah.
when the movie starts, he's got
He's
Hell,
got a
he's
beard.
got-
beard, and she even mentions,
Yeah.
Oh, you
Dad,
shaved the
your
beard.
beard's getting a little gray.
Right.
Yep.
It was kind of like a running gag in the movie. Like they were like, "Oh, you shaved your beard." All right. Talking about writing for this film.
Right.
So, a recent UCLA graduate named Shane Black, who you may know, that the name may sound familiar because he directed Iron Man 3, he directed Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and he was also in the first Predator. He wrote the screenplay back in 1985, and he sent it to his agent. I'm sorry, not the agent. His agent sent it to the producer Joel Silver, who's still around today. He loved the story, and he worked with Black to further kind of develop the script and beef it up. So they took it to Warner Brothers in '86, and then the studio executives offered it to director Richard Donner, who also loved it.
He got a pretty penny for that movie, too. He sold the script for $250,000.
Yeah, he was. Well, I think he was 24 when he wrote that movie.
24,
so,
25. Yeah.
So getting $250,000 at 24, and you just got out of college.
Yeah, no
that's
kidding.
pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
We mentioned that Leonard Nimoy had the top grossing movie of '87, 3 Men and a Baby.
Right.
He was one of the choices considered for directing, but he didn't feel comfortable doing the action movie. And so, because he was working on 3 Men and a Baby, he just let someone else take the spot. But now that I think about it, this movie would have come out a lot different if it had Leonard Nimoy behind the camera.
Right.
It would have been good, but I think Dick Donner brings something to the show that I was thinking I'd get that. Yeah, Dick Donner's, that's what they referred to him as. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of weird, with the Leonard Nimoy saying he didn't feel comfortable doing action films.
Right.
Like, think about it. Before this, he had done Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock. So if you think about Star Trek 3, the last 30 to 45 minutes of that movie is all action.
Yep.
There's a ship battle.
Yeah.
The planets, whatever. Watch the movie and you'll find out. But
the thing
it's just
is,
so weird that he makes that decision.
all of the action in that movie is special effects. They have
There's only one real fight scene. It's Kirk and
Right.
Rouge.
Yeah,
right.
Played by Chris Ruler.
And so that's the thing is like this movie has a lot of heavy themes. Right at the very beginning of it, Riggs is suicidal.
Yep.
You've got Murtaugh, who is considering retirement, getting himself into these dangerous situations. And at the end, his family's in danger.
Right.
A lot more personal stuff than what was in Star Trek, really,
Yeah, I get it.
So I don't know. I'm not going to make excuses for the man. I just
Yeah.
I could see a difference between this and Star Trek 3.
Oh yeah, huge difference.
Yeah, I would love to see Shane Black write a Star Trek script just to see what that would look like.
That'd be cool. I'd watch that.
And actually,
You
speaking
would
of that,
watch it if I wrote it.
well, yeah, actually,
you're probably right.
Yeah.
But I think if you did it, you would probably it'd be like a crossover between Star Trek and Star Wars.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
So at the end of this movie, I think we always talk about alternate endings, deleted
Right.
scenes, things like that.
Right.
At the end of this movie, Riggs, who's been suicidal, he's been walking through the entire film like he just does not give a shit.
Right.
He's supposed to die in the original script treatment. And I actually think I like that better than leaving him alive. Because I think that there's a lot of room
know.
for the whole redemption thing and like, hey, I'm gonna give my life for you, even though it's suicidal and all that stuff. I think it's a neat circle,
Right.
If we think about it, Riggs literally has nothing to live for, and Murtaugh gives him a reason to live.
Yeah,
so he
exactly.
turns, but. I'm not saying he commits suicide. I'm just saying he takes a bullet for him or something like that. I could see that
So
working.
did they
I
ever
don't
say how
know.
you're supposed to die at the end, or just that he was supposed to die at
Just
the
that
end?
he was supposed to die at the end.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm glad they didn't do that because, like you said, Riggs
gets
and
his
Murtaugh's.
redemption.
Yeah, but
does.
But Riggs and Murtaugh's relationship, it's growing and they're becoming. I mean, obviously, it's a buddy cop movie for a reason.
Well, yeah, but
know.
that's the thing. We don't know it's a buddy cop until the sequel.
That's true. Yeah,
know,
I guess that's
And
true.
maybe kill him off at the end of 2. Richard Donner had plans for that.
He came close.
Yeah, almost.
He did almost die at the end of the second one.
Right. But I'm just saying, it's interesting. I think it could have worked that way. I just thought I'd bring that up.
I don't know. I don't.
I don't even know
I
how
don't
you
think
would
it would've
kill him
worked.
off.
I mean, unless
Mr. Joshua gets the gun at the end.
Well, yeah.
see
but
that would have been shitty. Like
Well,
after
yeah.
that whole fight scene on the lawn.
get
or
that
maybe
piece
that's
of
where he
shit
dies.
off my lawn.
Yeah, seriously, and like to have him get shot, like I don't know. If it was like one of those situations where they both just beat the shit out of each other, and then like they both landed the final blow that did the damage, and like they both die.
Yeah.
that might have
That
been
I could live with.
that I can live with, right?
Sure,
but if-
sure.
But he goes through all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Fakes his own death, takes a shotgun blast to the chest. Rescue Murtaugh's daughter, all that stuff to have him die like very cheaply.
No, I
that
agree.
would have sucked.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not going to argue the method. I'm just saying, like,
I see.
a Riggs death at the end could have worked really well. And
You just don't get the sequels.
Right.
True. Now, we
No Joe Pesci.
we haven't really gone and done a synopsis about this movie. I don't think we really have to.
Well, let me throw a quick one out there.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So Murtaugh is a very clean-cut homicide detective. By clean-cut, suit and tie, always pressed.
By the book.
By the book. Murtaugh, as we've said, is suicidal. He's suicidal because of the
Riggs is
drug-
suicidal.
I'm
Riggs is
sorry.
suicidal.
Riggs, suicidal. Yeah, I've seen this movie a ton of times.
Evidently.
He's suicidal because of the death of his wife. He's having trouble coping.
Right.
We'll even talk about the extended version in
Yes.
a little bit because
Yes.
that actually I think adds something. To
I think
it.
it's a
agree.
great
It works.
But he's basically a burnout narc cop who gets partnered with Riggs.
Murtaugh.
With Murtaugh. Jesus, I can't get him straight.
I'm gonna come up with little flashcards, and whenever he needs to talk about one, I'll hold up the black one. Whenever he needs to talk
because
about
Mel Gibson's feeling pretty dark inside, and he's just feeling upset.
Oh yeah, that's
no,
it.
well, okay. So here, when you need to talk about Riggs, I'll hold up the Jewish Star of David, and when you need to talk about Murtaugh,
That's awesome.
I'll hold up this the VHS copy of The Color Purple.
I'm gonna hold up.
Wow.
I'm gonna hold up a Royal Flush because that's what he has in Maverick, and then I'm gonna hold up this Predator helmet for Danny Glover.
Gotcha. All right, Riggs and Murtaugh and Riggs. Okay, got it.
Here's the Jigsaw doll from the movie Saw.
So
want to play a game.
So they get partnered up to ultimately solve the crime of what we find out to be a murder of Murtaugh's army buddy's daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Which leads to the uncovering of him being the financial
Backer.
looper, backer,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it, of a major drug ring
Right.
involving old Mercs.
Major drug ring.
Major drug.
And of course, there ensues, going and fighting the bad guys, all
Yeah.
that good stuff.
bunch of shenanigans and goings on.
Exactly. But you were talking about the buddy cop, and it doesn't really turn buddy cop until the sequel.
Yeah.
But it's growing.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
they certainly they don't like each other.
They do agree.
Riggs doesn't want a partner. Murtaugh doesn't want
Right.
a partner. But as it goes,
Yeah.
they're kind of they start melding. They start.
This
This guy could work.
Yeah, I agree that this movie really sets the precedent for buddy cop movies.
Oh, absolutely.
This is how you introduce two characters together. It sets all of the tropes. I mean, that's essentially Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
In an homage to Lethal Weapon.
Yep.
Lots of the overall theme of them meeting together, and I don't like you don't like me, I'm by the book, I'm not, the whole idea is the same.
Right.
Well, the funny thing is, even in Hot Fuzz, some of the music
Yeah.
that they cue up
Cues.
is from Lethal Weapon.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, even like the final fight between Peg and Timothy Dalton, it ends in a water main burst fountain. It's exactly
Right,
the same
right,
thing.
right.
Yeah,
as
it's very
their
similar.
final fight between Gibson and Gary Busey, right?
Yep.
Now, this wasn't the original buddy cop movie, but it
No.
was the original good one.
Then what would you say is the original buddy cop movie?
48 Hours is
It's pretty good.
kind of the original, but
No, I
it's
can see
not. I mean, yeah, it spawned a sequel.
and they're both not cops though.
Yeah, well, but it's
You could say buddy.
It's
You could say
close.
buddy comedy.
yeah,
You
but
know,
it's close,
right.
But
No,
this
but
is
buddy comedies go back. I mean,
yeah.
Abbott,
But,
Abbott and Costello.
It has to be a
Odd
buddy
Couple,
cop movie, and so
right?
I
yeah,
don't
but this
Right,
is the
right.
really, really good one.
yeah. I like I said, I think this sets the precedent for all other buddy cop movies.
Right. I agree. Right on.
Because Stakeout came out the same year, probably trying to.
Could you call Beverly Hills Cop a buddy cop movie?
No,
Really? Why not? Because there's three of them.
not really. We're the three best friends.
Right.
That didn't really become a buddy cop movie until literally the second
True,
one.
because
Yeah.
going like Murtaugh and Riggs. Murtaugh hates Riggs, and then
But it grows throughout the movie.
but Taggart and Rosewood don't really like Foley.
Right, and
Yeah.
Foley's supposed to leave anyway.
Right.
They don't really have this friendship bond until
Yeah.
Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Yeah,
I can see that.
that's
I can
true.
see that. Okay.
That's a good point.
But it's close.
Yeah. Yeah.
It tries.
Yeah.
But this is the quintessential buddy cop movie.
Right.
This is what
Right.
they're all molded after. But, in a nutshell, that was the plot of the movie. Obviously,
Sure.
good guys prevail, all that good stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things they do a really good job of in this movie is showing how Riggs is suicidal.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know,
His whole first reveal.
yeah, his first reveal is he
No,
goes
I'm
to
sorry.
the drug deal.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
And
I was thinking
he's,
something.
I mean, he's got a gun to his head. He's going, shoot me,
Yeah.
Right.
shoot me. Go ahead. He's like, fuck it. Go ahead and kill me.
There's a scene like that. I don't know if it was in or was supposed to be in because I haven't seen it yet. But in Expendables 3, they wrote a scene in that kind of as an homage to his role in Lethal Weapon.
Sure.
You know, he plays Stonebanks, who's the villain in Expendables 3, and there's a scene where he's got a gun to his head. He's doing the same thing.
Kill me. Shoot
Yep.
me. Shoot
Yep.
me.
And you can see his progression going away from that whole suicidal tendency throughout all four movies.
Yeah,
Like,
once he
it's-
meets the family,
Yeah,
especially.
he still has a couple of the rage issues and whatnot in the
He's-
second film, but
he's
he
not-
kind of gets away
He's
with
not
it.
suicidal at that point. He's that on edge.
Yeah.
Right.
He's still just,
Right.
he
I'm
can
going
snap
to,
at any moment.
Right.
and, if
Yeah.
I die, I die, but I'm going to do it for a good reason kind of thing.
And I'll be honest. Even the first time I saw this, when I was real young, I could catch on to the fact that there was something wrong with this dude. You know,
Right.
Mel Gibson does a great job of. He's got the crazy eyes.
Yeah,
he does a really
he
good
does.
job.
Uh-huh. Especially in
Does
the
a really good job at
parking
that.
garage scene when he's talking about either way people think I'm trying to draw a psycho pension, then
In which case I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the scene we alluded to, which is in the extended cut, is it really would have been the scene to really prove this guy is on edge.
Yeah.
because it's a school hostage situation with a sniper.
Right.
And he literally just walks up the stairs, getting shot at. Pretty shitty sniper actually, because he's totally missing.
Got a
Must have been a
scope.
stormtrooper.
Yeah.
Right. Nice.
Thank you.
Django.
And then he takes the guy out, but he's like, if I get shot, I get shot. I'm not
Right.
worried about it. I'm going to do my job.
And he's walking towards this guy with a rifle. I mean, a gun like that is going to do serious damage at distance.
Right.
Point blank like that.
yeah,
Rip your
close
leg
up
off.
is going to cut you in half.
And then Riggs, he's using a Beretta 92F,
92F.
which ironically is the same gun. Coincidentally, I'm sorry, is the same gun Bruce Willis uses in Die Hard.
Right.
Bruce Willis also uses that same gun in The Last Boy Scout. It's also used in True Romance. Con
Well, not the
Air.
same exact handgun,
Well,
but the model.
a very similar
yeah,
model,
in
right.
this case, Die Hard and Lethal Weapon, it's the same exact pistol.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Like the prop guy, Mike
Took it over and
Yeah,
said,
Mike-
hey, use this one.
Papak or Papak. I don't know how you say his name.
K-Pax?
Papak?
Papak.
K-Pax.
He was the weapons expert on this movie and Die Hard. Most of the Die Hards, actually. In fact, he did a lot of movies that have really good gunplay. He did
Man on Fire, for sure, yeah.
He was the weapons specialist on Die Hard, on most of the Die Hards, actually. Last Boy Scout, True Romance, Con Air, SWAT, Man on Fire, and most recently Book of Eli, which is a fantastic movie, by the way. And I mean, as far as authenticity goes, they cast the guns pretty well. I think that the 92F was a great gun for Mel Gibson to use.
Sure.
I think the Smith & Wesson, the revolver that Danny Glover has, is perfect for him. And if you look, even the handguns that the bad guys have, like Mr. Joshua and all the henchmen, they're all fitting. Like they look like henchman guns almost.
Right.
Real, yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as the the fight at the end that we brought up, if you notice, it's not just like boxing or street fighting. Like there's skill
martial
involved.
arts. I mean, they're both
they're trained military guys.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Special forces.
Riggs was special forces, which is one of the ways they identify Mr. Joshua.
The kid with the
tattoo.
tattoo.
Right.
Or they were part of the same military group, right? They were part of the same.
He said it was the same. He said it was the same division.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he said division. I don't remember the key word.
It's
It wasn't battalion.
He's basically
Right.
saying it's the same overall outfit. They
Yeah.
were special. They were
Sure.
mercs.
Right.
Which, given that it was in 87 and the ages these guys are supposed to be, I mean, that pretty well,
Would have been Vietnam.
yeah, and it plays out pretty well. And we'll talk about continuity here too, but one of the things that, to your point, guns matched the character.
Absolutely.
They did their research, and it was
Murtaugh was the older cop,
right.
would have carried a 6-shooter.
Yeah.
And of course, he makes that a point. Riggs being the kid of the group, he's carrying, a semi-automatic.
15 plus 1.
Yep.
That's the gun that I would actually love to own someday. It's
a good
pretty
gun.
sweet.
It is a good
Yeah.
gun.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so as far as technical advisors, Mike Papak, we'll go with that, whatever.
Tupac?
Mike Papak. Not
Tupac.
He's the father of Tupac.
Oh, Tupac's daddy?
Yeah, Pac.
Papak.
Yeah.
Papak.
Papak. So Richard Donner wanted that last fight to be unique and make a statement about the characters involved. You got
sure.
these two special forces dudes,
Right.
So his assistant director Willie Simmons has an avid interest in unusual forms of martial arts, and so he invited a couple of guys over to demonstrate for Richard Donner, and as a result, they hired all three of these guys. Who were each a master of a particular martial arts style. The first guy was Cedric Adams, who taught the actors capoeira, excuse me, which we all know was made famous by Eddie Gordo in Tekken 3.
And when you showed me that bit, not to digress, but I love the fact that you included that because I played a lot of Tekken Tag back in college. With
That's
my
what
friends.
brought it to the
That's
mainstream,
just
I
great.
think.
That's awesome.
Actually, he was in Tekken Tag, but not in Tekken 4. They had a chick that played his role, and then
see.
he was a skin for the chick. Anyways,
I gotcha.
Dennis Newsom provided his knowledge of this martial arts style I'd never even heard of. It's called Jailhouse Rock.
That sounds bizarre.
It's a system of martial arts which is debated to even exist because for a system of martial arts, you need a very specific
Discipline.
Yeah, there's forms and practice, and so the idea behind Jailhouse Rock is it's this it's like handed down convict to convict throughout all the different penal institutions, and each penal institution.
Penal.
Yeah, Dick Donner, penal institutions, and hang on, let me think of something else.
Did they use Jailhouse Rock in Shawshank?
No,
Probably.
I don't think so. I don't think we didn't see any of that.
No, there's no fighting. There's
No
just,
parkour,
just
no
rape.
roundhouse kicks, just
Just rape.
that and a big
Just good
goddamn
old
poster.
fashioned jailhouse rape.
That and a big goddamn poster.
That's right. And so the third guy they brought in was a guy named Rorian Gracie.
Is that
We'll go with
Is that Hoist
Rorian.
Gracie's dad?
No,
Do you know what I'm talking about? Hoist Gracie?
Yes,
he's
spelled
the
Royce.
son.
No, but you know who I'm talking
He's
about.
the son of Gracie.
He's the father of UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Gracie family.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they're a famous Brazilian family, and they're known for promoting Brazilian jiu-jitsu worldwide.
Sure.
Anyways, so all three of those guys lent their expertise to the final fight scene there.
It's a good fight scene.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with it.
Shot beautifully. Raining. This the helicopter lights and all.
Yeah.
The,
Well, it wasn't
this-
raining. It was the broken water.
I'm sorry.
main.
It might as well have been raining. The
Yeah.
water from the hydrant and then the
Because nobody would have turned that shit off.
not at all.
I'm surprised we didn't see kids playing in it.
So we mentioned Gary Busey plays Joshua. He had said that in an interview he had said that I had butterflies. I had never played a bad guy and no one had seen me since I'd lost 60 pounds and got back into shape. But I decided to take the initiative in order to have the opportunity to work with Dick Donner.
Nah.
Yeah, I paused. Joel Silver, Mel Gibson, and Danny Glover. I'm constantly looking for someone to pull the best performance out of me, and any of those guys could do it.
Yep.
They even talked me into dyeing my hair.
No one
And-
ever told him to stop.
Right, exactly right. He looked like Ric Flair in that movie.
I mean, he had bleach blonde hair, but I thought he always had blonde hair anyway, so I didn't really notice the difference.
no,
It was more of a dirty blonde.
yeah. If you go back and watch like Silver Bullet with Corey Haim
Point
and then
Break.
Point Break was later.
Still.
I thought Point Break was Nick Nolte.
No,
No,
it was
it was
Gary
Busey.
Busey. Angelo Pappas.
Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. Never mind.
Okay, you think of his mugshot? Nick
Yeah,
Nolte's
the
mugshot?
hair. You know,
Right.
that's what did it.
So, as in every movie, you know, they always have ideas for people that they want to play the roles, other than the people that got cast for it.
Yeah.
You know, Bruce Willis was considered for Riggs, as was Christopher Reeve. I
don't
could
see
not
that.
see Superman playing Riggs.
He's too clean cut.
Right. And Clay, since you had mentioned earlier that we were going to be hopefully talking about Loaded Weapon, that's why I love the fact in that movie they reference Bruce Willis has a cameo in that
Yes.
movie after they blow up his trailer and,
Yeah.
and whatnot. He looks like John McClane, but I think that's kind of why, since he was considered for it, they brought him back and used him in that movie.
That's hilarious.
Well, he looks like John McClane, but they're reenacting the whole
Right.
Lethal Weapon 2
Right, shoot it with the
shootout at
helicopter.
yeah, which is awesome.
We're looking for 1601 Main Street. Wait, this is 1801 Pacific Coast Highway. This is 1806 Pacific Coast Highway. It's that couple blocks that way. So Lethal Weapon had begun principal photography on August 6th of 1986, and they shot all throughout the LA area, and they
Yep.
used a lot of backlots of Burbank Studios.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about where they shot is that, well, one, the locations don't make sense for what they're doing if you know California, but I don't. Right. So the cool thing was that at the beginning of the movie, Jackie Swanson, the actress who plays Amanda Hunsaker,
Right.
she jumps off of the building at the very beginning, and that building is the International Towers in Long Beach, which is the same place that Eleanor was registered in Gone in 60 Seconds.
Nice.
And it's actually in the background at the beginning of Anchorman when Ron Burgundy's helicopter comes in
Right.
at the very beginning.
That's right, it is.
Really popular landmark.
The only, since you mentioned you don't know LA, like I feel like I'd
Yeah.
learned a little bit of it from playing Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay. I thought that
Well,
was
we
Los
all have to
Santos.
associate it somewhere.
Indeed.
Is Grand Theft Auto 5 Los Santos? I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, it's Los Santos.
Oh,
It's
okay.
basically it's the entire LA area and then the surrounding cities around it. And it's I mean, I
know it's not exact.
Right.
but-
Well, it's pretty fucking close because I know at one
Wow.
point I end up right by the Chinese theater. It's got the walk of fame.
Right.
I mean,
So the neighborhoods and everything are the same.
even the Playboy Mansion is in the game.
That's funny.
Yeah,
That's funny.
So anyway,
You go down to Inglewood and
Right.
visit the dead. Oh, okay.
yeah.
If that's not in the game, that's a failure.
Right. So that whole thing, that whole jump and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's done. It was done using an airbag covered with a life-size painting of the driveways and the cars.
Right.
You know, it looks like a very small model.
That's kind of a wide shot. It's a pretty wide shot for looking down at the ground. You
and
know?
they did that exact same thing in Die Hard when Hans is falling out of the building.
Yes.
That whole scene was a blue screen with a spongy mat, but they
Right,
superimposed the traffic and the cops beneath it, which I thought was pretty good. It's
Yeah,
pretty,
yeah.
dude.
Well,
for a
if
movie
you
being
go-
being made at this time, it's pretty
Absolutely.
flawless. Like
Yeah.
you can sometimes tell. I'm sorry to use this as an example. In Army of Darkness, whenever there's a blue screen, it's pretty fucking obvious.
yeah.
But in this, it's relatively flawless.
It's. I mean, think about this. They're right now in '87. They're getting ready to do Terminator 2.
Yeah, they're prepping for
You
it.
know,
right?
and
Yeah,
I
that's
mean
true.
the special effects on Terminator 2 with the T-1000 going
Yep.
through the gel,
the morphing stuff,
bars.
right? Yep.
I mean, I remember watching on the Laserdisc when that came out, the special features,
Yep.
and talking about how it took them forever to render that stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I think he definitely perfected it in The Abyss.
And I'm not saying it's the same thing because they didn't use CG on these. This was an actual stunt,
Right.
And she dropped down onto an airbag. And actually, it's rumored that she actually did the stunt herself.
Sweet.
Yeah.
How's that for a Persuader?
So yeah, nice. I actually went back and I rewatched the beginning of the movie just to see. They hold the shot until she's almost
Yeah.
on the bag, like the last possible millisecond.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty, it's pretty good.
the only piece of continuity that's off is just the way they show her hitting the car and the way
Yeah.
they pan out
Yeah.
and that she's actually on the car.
Right. And you had mentioned that
But
this
it's still pretty close.
You had
Yeah.
mentioned that this movie has a lot of really solid continuity. It doesn't have a lot of continuity errors. is
It
what I'm
really
trying to say.
does.
Well, the whole series doesn't. But to this point, Clay, you go talk about for this one.
Yeah, so you take all four movies, and obviously we want to key in on this one,
Sure.
but Going back to the weapons, Murtaugh carries a 6-shooter throughout the first 3 movies. He doesn't carry a semi-automatic until part 4.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Riggs carries the same gun throughout the whole thing. His trucks. He's always driving a GMC.
Yep.
Dually, right?
Dually.
Well,
Dualies?
the first 2 he's driving dualies. The third one he's driving
Just an extended cab.
just a regular pickup truck.
Yeah.
And the other point to that is they use GM cars.
Yeah.
GM cars
Yeah.
are very predominant throughout the entire series.
Even Murtaugh's poor station wagon at the beginning of the second one.
Well,
the family
his first
truckster?
his first station wagon was an Oldsmobile.
in
In the first
this
one.
one? Okay, but then
there you go.
in the
In
second
the second one, it's a new one.
Yeah,
Because
with
remember, it's
the
my
wood
wife's brand new
paneling.
car.
Right, yeah.
But even down to the dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam the dog. He's in the first 3.
Is
And
he a border collie?
Yeah, well, he's more collie.
Straight collie.
Yeah. In the third one, they get the dog.
He's O's.
Give me the dog.
Give me the dog. They get the Roddy from
Give me the Roddy.
from the bad guys.
I don't think I want to say that one.
Right.
Too late.
And going into the fourth one when he comes home,
Yep.
still in the trailer, which has been refurbished.
Yeah. Quite well. Has a deck and everything.
Well, I would dare say
And
that it's
an
not the
escape hatch.
same trailer.
That's right.
Yeah. It's probably not the same trailer because they trashed that one pretty good, but he's still living on the beach
Right.
in a mobile home, basically. But when he goes into the house, Sam the dog is still there. The Rottweiler's still there. Now, that's not something,
That's the one he gets from 3, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's not something that probably most people wouldn't have noticed
Sure.
had that second dog been missing, but he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice touch.
Obviously, same kids throughout.
Yep.
They didn't pull
Yep.
a vacation where
I'm
it's
really
new
glad.
kids.
Yeah.
I'm really glad when they see that they keep the kids and the wife and everyone's able to sign back on.
Yeah, but
Yeah, and
all
plus-
the main characters, even some of the bit characters, all the same actors.
Well, I mean-
Yeah, the
actresses.
captain.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know,
Nothing changes.
the shrink.
Yeah, the shrink, the captain. Nothing changes throughout the entire series other than their aging.
Yeah. Well, and the captain's going to say the same. He's like we said, he's in every Dick Donner movie, but we
Right.
didn't say the reason he's in every Dick Donner movie is because he's the cousin
Yep.
of the director.
Yep.
If anyone's got any,
Dick's cousin.
He's Dick's cousin. Dick's cousin Steve.
But I totally agree with you. And
Yeah.
they do that trailer up pretty well in the
And
later,
even
in the later
really well
movies.
and
done.
some of the other thing, Murtaugh's house. Always something going on with Murtaugh's house.
Yeah.
Speaking of Murtaugh,
not the bad stuff. I'm just talking about.
Right.
Right.
not the
he's-
bomb damage, the drug dealer driving through the car, like driving the car through the house.
Well, think
or
about this. Okay, let's talk
the
about
bomb in
that.
the toilet. All right.
Obviously, he's always the house is being remodeled.
Sure.
Seems like constantly.
Yeah.
Now go back to the other. First one, cop car drives through the house.
Yep.
Second one,
Bomb
bomb
in the
blows
toilet.
up in the house.
Yep.
Third one, nothing happens.
Nope.
Fourth one, fucking house
Burns
just burns
down.
down.
Thank you, Jet Li.
That house
Yeah.
was doomed from
Right.
get.
Clay, since you had mentioned the house, in Christmas Vacation, when they're showing the exterior shots after Clark has set up all of his Christmas lights, if you look in that exterior shot, the house next door to them is Murtaugh's house.
That's awesome.
Yeah, both Warner Brothers projects. But
And I couldn't recognize the house from the side when I went back to look for it. You know, I mean, I saw the house
Sure.
you're talking about.
Sure.
Couldn't tell it was his house.
Right.
I guess it needed lights.
that house is like Lebowski's car.
Yeah.
By the end of the movie, they've killed it. So there are actually a couple of connections to the Predator movies from the first film. The first one being
I don't remember seeing the Predator in.
he wasn't.
Really
No,
wish I
Predator.
could
No, he was Lethal Weapon. Predator was Lethal Weapon. So the funny thing about this one, screenwriter Shane Black, he's in the first Predator. He's actually, ironically, the first person to get killed in the movie. He's the guy that's trying to make Billy, the big Native American guy, laugh with his pussy jokes or whatever.
Doesn't he
whatever
actually
else.
make him laugh? Just
Yeah,
right
in the
before he
second one,
dies.
that's right. Yeah. Because they capture the Billy's laugh, and he actually hears it. He's like, he thinks he hears it off in the distance and whatnot. That creepy laugh of his, and also. Gary Busey and Danny Glover also reunite in Predator 2. Talking about Tom Atkins' character, Michael Hunsaker, so he reveals at one point that he worked for an operation called Air America, which involved the CIA and dealt with shipping heroin out of Laos during the Vietnam War. Mel Gibson starred in a movie with Robert Downey Jr. called Air America in 1990 that may have been based on that conversation. So, I think it's probably more plausible or probable that Hunsaker, was referring to the American passenger and cargo airline referred to as Air America It was covertly owned and operated by the CIA from 1950 to 1976 and allegedly supplied covert operations in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War. So, Clay, you were there. Is that true?
Yes, actually it was. I was actually a passenger on Air America. Yeah, true story.
Right on. So,
Nerve-wracking sons of bitches.
It's kind of another fun fact about the movie. This is the first movie to feature a cell phone.
Yeah, it was a suitcase.
Was it like the Zach Morris? This is like the Zach Morris
No,
phone?
it was.
Oh, you're talking about
it was a carry
bag.
pouch.
I got you. I remember seeing those in cars, kind of throughout the late '80s. But that's kind of funny. This was the first one to do it. You can see it when Murtaugh is calling his wife, and later when he calls Dr. Stephanie Woods to talk about Riggs's mental instability. And also, this is the only film of the Lethal Weapon series where Riggs's shoulder is not dislocated.
I think he actually gets the dislocation fighting Joshua.
Yeah, but he doesn't they don't do.
But it's a different shoulder.
Yeah, they don't make a big deal of it where he has to kind of knock it back into place, like the whole straitjacket incident from the second movie or what have you.
I think the fight with Joshua is the incident that they. So if you're watching Lethal Weapon 2,
right,
and he gets himself out of the straitjacket, he says, "I dislocated my shoulder once, and I can just do it anytime I want." I think they're trying to allude to that. Now the problem with that is it is a different shoulder.
That's true because when after they shoot Joshua, he collapses into Danny Glover's arms, and one of his shoulders is limp.
He's hanging a shoulder,
Yeah,
so I think that's what they're alluding to.
That's a good point. So here's a funny coincidence. I'm going to cut that. I don't want to do that. That's fine. The thing about the Blue Thunder and whatnot. When Mr. Joshua breaks into the Murtaugh's house near the end of the movie, A Christmas Carol is seen on TV. Thus, more evidence this is, in fact,
It's
a Christmas movie. Yeah, right.
Well, I mean, we knew it was a Christmas movie when the whole thing opens up with Jingle Bell Rock.
Right.
But,
right.
Well, and they talk about Christmas throughout the movie. I mean, the bar that they're in at the end has Christmas decorations.
Right.
The store that he goes into after the jumper has the
graffiti on the windows.
The paint on the windows.
That's right. That's right.
There's they don't make a huge deal about it being Christmas.
Well, they're even the cops are practicing their Christmas carols in the hallway at the beginning. Well, actually,
there's when they're in the shooting range. Riggs makes a comment, and Murtaugh says comments like that will not get you invited to Christmas dinner, and he says my luck's changing for the better already. So yeah, I mean they don't make that big a deal of it, but there are the Christmas elements throughout the whole movie. Of course, Christmas in California. How do you know?
That's true. I mean, you got a Santa dude probably walking around in board shorts with just a top with a beard,
shorts and a tank top, long beard
and a red hat. Yeah. And it's also funny, too, at the end, he's like, if you think I'm going to eat the world's lousiest Christmas turkey by myself, you're crazy. I'll let you in a little secret. I'm not crazy. All right, so before we kind of wrap things up, let's talk about how this movie was received critically. Jared, how do you think this did?
Give us the tale of the tape.
Well, I could tell you how it went.
Yay!
The movie was number one at the box office, and it was for 3 weeks up until there's a date movie that came out after it. I can't remember what it was called. It's not on the list we came up with earlier, but anyways, some romantic comedy came up and
was it Blind Date?
Blind Date. There you go. So this movie was number one for 3 weeks in a row, which seemed like a limited run to me. But we mentioned how it's a Christmas movie. Mm-hmm. It was released in March.
Right.
We didn't mention that earlier. Kind of weird releasing a Christmas movie earlier in the year.
In spring break, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And you've got, February is traditionally a horror movie month, apparently.
Yeah. So my wife and I do. We would go see horror films on Valentine's Day.
It's just so it's kind of a weird thing,
right?
That Christmas movies would come out in March, but it did pretty well. It did. Yeah. Overall, the gross was $120 million worldwide, which is really not bad for an action movie.
Sure.
So I think I think overall it did really well. Roger Ebert gave this 4 stars. In comparison, he only gave Die Hard 2, so he definitely enjoyed what he saw in this one.
It's bullshit.
I agree with you. They're both 4-star movies in my opinion.
You got to get over this.
No, I don't. I really don't.
You really do.
No, I don't.
I think you do.
You can't tell me what to do.
I mean, I love the movie. When I saw this, I was a teenager.
Sure.
And I wanted to be Riggs. I know he had the suicidal thing going on, but he just didn't give a shit.
Right.
And he was a badass. I wanted to be him.
Yep. Clay, what about you?
Confession time. I saw Lethal Weapon 2 before I saw Lethal Weapon.
Right on.
So I went and saw Lethal Weapon 2 in the theaters and immediately went home and watched Lethal Weapon.
Sure.
So I could get some backstory, actually. No, the whole series. I love the whole series.
Right.
Even the fourth one.
I enjoy the fourth one, too.
The fourth one was a good action movie, but I didn't like that they kept making movies. I think 3 and 4 could have been stricken from the record,
Sure.
and we wouldn't have missed anything.
Right.
Well, yes, but I think the thing that you do get out of this is that you get when they're paired together. Mm-hmm. So when they first meet, all the way to the fact that they're ultimately family.
Yep.
Yep. And I think the fourth one did a really good job of kind of ending the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
setting the sun on his tail.
You know, Murtaugh has a grandchild.
Right.
Riggs has his kid.
Gets married.
Yeah, lets go, and that's another good point. He kind of gets married, but you know, the whole series is him dealing at some level. He's dealing with the loss of his wife.
Right.
The first one, he's suicidal.
Right.
The second one, you know,
these are the people that killed his wife.
Yeah, it's the people that actually killed his wife.
Right.
The third one, you know, he hooks up with Rene Russo.
Right. He can love again after all.
And you know, he's I can do it. I can do it. I can do it.
Right.
The fourth one is him really, truly letting go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you know, all four of them tie together really well.
You can watch the second one without. You don't need to have seen the first movie because there's no elements that carry over. Like
no,
the beginning of the second one's almost like a sitcom in that it starts off and everyone's relationships are already established and everyone just comes into each scene talking to each other, and it's got a familiarity to it that doesn't really put you off.
It even starts with the like an opening jingle to like a Looney Tunes cartoon, like when they're showing.
That's exactly what the opening tune is.
Exactly right. Then the car chase with the station wagon.
Another thing I want to point out is that this movie starts off. First thing you see is a naked chick. Mm-hmm. Next thing you see is Danny Glover in a bathtub. And then the scene after that is naked Mel Gibson.
Right.
You know, it's got a prodigious amount of nudity in the very beginning.
Right.
Lethal Weapon 2, not so much. Beginning was a little different.
Yeah. There is nudity in the second one, but yeah.
Atkins does not exactly get off to the same start.
I know what you mean. Yeah. I got
no,
you.
the start of the first one is very dark.
Sure. Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know, chick presumably commits suicide.
Right. Find out later she's poisoned.
Right. She's poisoned and murdered.
Right.
You know, Danny Glover is just chilling in the tub, which is another common theme throughout the series.
Yeah, he's always in the bathroom.
Well, no, I mean,
there is that.
There is that, but you know, the first one opens up. He's taking a bath in the tub.
Right.
The third one, he's taking a bath in the tub a couple of times.
Yep.
But like I said, no tie-in, but being dark in the beginning is.
If you hadn't have said no tie-in,
right? That's true.
You know, Mel Gibson. He wakes up, gets out of bed, cracks a beer, lights a cigarette. It's presumably early.
Yeah,
obviously, and that's how he starts his day.
It's beer 30 somewhere.
Yeah. So, but to your point, the second one opens up with just pure comedy. At first.
The car chase.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, on.
How about you?
If I remember correctly, I think I saw the second one before I saw the first one. But in my household, you know, my mom and dad, my mother absolutely loves this movie, like the first one especially. And my parents, when I was a kid, when we moved to Texas, the second one had just come out in the theater. So my mom and dad went and saw the second one. My brother and I believe, went and saw UHF in the theater. And I saw 3 and 4 in the theater, and I love all of these movies. In fact, I've said, kind of like Die Hard. If they make 10 Die Hards, that I'll go see all 10. If they make up until the 5th one, but either way,
they already made 6 actually.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's about to come out.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
That's right. Yeah. Where they do the reverse blackface.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. No, it's not reverse blackface.
Well, no, I'm sorry. The character, when I say that, the character switch.
Gotcha.
Anyway,
yeah, Mac is Murtaugh and is blackface.
Right, and then Dennis becomes Murtaugh and is. So Either way, I think this is a great film. I do consider this to be a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
You know, many people will disagree with me, including my wife.
Too
But
bad.
I still think it's a Christmas film.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
It's fun. You know, it really set the bar high for buddy cop movies to follow. There have been a lot since then that have tried to kind of replicate the dynamic between the two characters that we've seen. And just there are a lot of copies and things like that, but this one stands on its own, and I think it still holds up to this day, and it doesn't need to be remade. So
No, absolutely not.
God no.
One thing I did hear a rumor of was people wanting to make a remake. So let's go ahead and just have that.
Let's play the
jerk.
game.
Yep. I gotta say they're making a good case for Channing Tatum, but he's already done 21 Jump Street,
Right.
so I don't think he
Right.
can do it again.
Let's see. And don't anybody say Kevin Hart.
No, but I know I knew we were going to play this game.
If you've got to go white guy, black guy, what would you do?
Let's see. Go ahead, Clay. What's yours?
Sam Jackson, Murtaugh.
I could see that.
Considering he played that role in Loaded Weapon 1.
Not just because that really had nothing to do with
I
it,
know.
but I'm thinking if you're going to really remake it, you've got to go with the same kind of age and all that.
Sure.
That's
Older black guy, younger white guy.
that's the only person that came to mind was Sam Jackson. I couldn't find a Riggs.
Ooh, I just came up with it. I got it. Chris Pratt, Don Cheadle.
I like it. I like Chris Pratt. He hasn't done anything serious,
Right.
and this could be a good chance for him to do it. But then again, Mel Gibson had done Mad Max right before this, so
Right.
he had his serious roles down.
Did Road Warrior come out before this?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Couple
Road
of
Warrior
guys.
was like 1980,
83? 84?
and then Thunderdome was before this, 85.
Thunderdome was
86.
before. That's okay.
I like Don Cheadle. I think he's a good replacement. I like.
He just may not be old enough.
I don't know about Chris Pratt. I'll be honest. What about
No, I did come up with a guy, and I can't think of his name.
Chris Hemsworth?
Thor, right on.
No.
And he's an Aussie.
Oh, you could do Thor and Idris Elba. Chris Hemsworth and Idris
I
Elba.
like that, yeah.
I could see Idris Elba
Jeremy
being.
Renner.
I like Jeremy Renner's. Yeah, that's good.
I could see that.
Jeremy Renner could play Riggs, and I still say Jackson could do Murtaugh,
Yeah,
Right on.
yeah.
That'd be cool.
and Rihanna could be Trish.
You know what? We want to hear from you guys. Tweet us what you think should be the new Riggs and Murtaugh if they ever
Yeah.
decide to remake it. You can tweet us at Fifth Wall Pod. That's going to do it for this week.
Make sure to use the hashtag I never forget an asshole.
Or hashtag Dick Donner.
What about
never
Dave Chappelle?
We suggest him for everything.
Yeah.
Let's
A black
give him
sheriff?
break. Let's give him a break.
It worked in Blazing
There
Saddles.
you go.
Right. So you can follow the podcast at Fifth Wall Pod on Twitter. Like us on Facebook. You can subscribe to us on iTunes. If you like it, leave a good review. We'd love to hear from you. You can follow each of us on Twitter. You can follow me at BNut37.
In a row?
Thank you so much.
Never gets
People are
old.
going to just start thinking your Twitter handle is
BNut37 in a row. Right.
I found this one guy named Brandon, but it's just BNut37. Where's the in
Couldn't
a
be the
row?
same.
I can't find the in a row. That's crazy. There's a separate guy on there altogether for just at in a row. Clay, they can follow you on Twitter. Where can they follow you at?
Clay Kellett. Real
Okay.
original, huh?
All right. So it's not at Large Marge? Got
No.
it. Okay. Very good. What about you, Jared?
You can follow me at JBose.
Okay. Any hits on our on our dating profiles for the websites we run?
No winks, no pats, no. I don't know what the other
Junk
ones
grabbing?
might be. No one's grabbed our junk. No one's winked at us.
Pats?
No
one's asked
bet-
us to change their diaper?
No one's bet on a horse. I don't know what the other ones are.
There's too many out there.
No one's curb stomped us yet.
They came close, though.
I signed up for that one. I didn't tell you guys about
Curb
that one.
stompers?
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
Do we have a?
it's actually baldlove.com.
Do we have a new one that we've
no.
signed up for?
No, I'm taking a break. But
All
if I can come up with a new one, I will sign us up and I'll make sure that I share it with you guys.
Very good. Well, guys, it's getting late, and I'm getting too old for this shit.